Okay folks, this is another quick update. I actually used to be a longtime QST magazine subscriber. ARRL sent me one of these in the mail when I first joined, and then I signed up for the magazine, the QST magazine, when I did finally get my opportunity to sign up. But I always remembered that this magazine was somehow closer to where I was in the hobby when I first started out. QST is a really technical magazine. There's lots and lots of great things in it. Fantastic magazine on its own. But if you are new to the hobby, QST is probably going to be a little overwhelming and a little hard to follow. And this magazine on the air is actually a little bit better. I have 4 issues here: January, February, March, April, May, June, and July, August. Let's take a look at some of these, do some real quick overview type things. If you already have this magazine, leave a comment down below. Let me know what some of your favorite things are about it. And if you don't, I suggest that you go look online and see if you want to switch, or if you just want to keep looking after it online. So Becky is the editor, Becky Schoenfeld. Fantastic person. I really enjoy talking with Becky. Becky is going to be an upcoming Ham Nuggets, or if you've watched this in the future past, she will have been already a guest on Ham Nuggets. And if I remember, I will put a link down below to that interview where we discuss what gets her interested in the hobby. There's a quick article here on APRS. Let's see, what else do we have? Types of information on antenna tuners. This would be a manual antenna tuner. This would be an automatic antenna tuner. And let's see, the article starts on page 10. And that looks like, nope, okay, so there's a little bit of a sidebar. Page 14. And then we're done. Okay, so lots of pictures, inside and outside pictures. I guess outside pictures aren't right, but inside pictures anyway. Some parts diagrams as to what you might be looking at when you look inside. A little bit of differences between the two of them. How to plug it in. A little sidebar on SWR. So there you go. I mean, it's really designed to be at a much lower level where you already are. This one here is on dummy load, so Carlos will be pretty excited to read about this and learn more about the antenna that he's building. Here's a TV station dummy load rated for 100,000 watts, and these aren't to the same scale. So this here is the size of like a screwdriver handle. This is the size of a paint can, and you can walk inside of this one, and I'm showing it to you off camera. So screwdriver handle, paint can, and ability to walk inside of the dummy load. And I saw one of those at the Voice of America Museum when I was out there. Pretty interesting that they have that kind of stuff. Wowzers. This one's on reaching out on repeaters. Here's a quick polarity tester designed for power poles to make sure you've got everything wired correctly. That's pretty cool. They've got the LED with the resistor in series, so you can plug it straight into your power pole splitter. Some tips on how to assemble it, some public service type stuff. Kit building, removing antenna support lines from sticky trees, a couple of different ways to do that. These are the twister cable management wraps. I've seen those before. This is a good way to add strain relief to, it looks like it's a Yaesu type radio. Quick band plan reference. Information on cycle 25. That was January, February. There's a lot of stuff in there. I want to go back and read some more. There's some more stuff on cycle 25 saying that we're going to get ready to have some upcoming solar type activities, which are going to be great. Letters to the editor like you might expect. Some quick information on space weather. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pages on that. So not terribly deep, but also, you know, good enough to help you make your way through a conversation and get you interested in doing something extra there. This is buying your first HF radio, and I talked about this on a live stream here recently, but your first HF radio is not going to be your last HF radio. And I can certainly agree with that because I have more than one HF radio and I enjoy them all. Real quick info on that. This looks like a reference to a QST overview to give you some information on what you might expect to see in QST. This is an article on antenna gain, and it shows you different radiation patterns for different types of antennas. Parks on the Air. This is Audrey Hance, KN4TMU, doing a Parks on the Air activation. Looks like she's got a ICOM 7100 and a Bio-NO battery, and she's out and good to go. Talks about the activators and the hunter, so we got two pages on that. A copper tape antenna for 2 meters, so this is a quick antenna build project that you can do, and it shows that it is just strapped straight to the window, which is pretty cool. So all of this is designed to be like super approachable. Serve your community in a CERT. CERT would be Community Emergency Response Team, so there's a little bit of information on that. Well, that's pretty cool. A quick way to hold your work that you're working on. Put a rubber band around the handle of a pair of pliers and do that. A pair of pliers? Sorry, put a rubber band around the handle of a pliers. Let's say that correctly. Grammar's important. Yeah, the hints and hacks section, I really like that. Keeping ham radio innovation going with the Raspberry Pi, a real brief article on Raspberry Pi type stuff. Let's see what's in May, June. Get ready for field day, because that comes up in end of June. Questions to the letters to the editor. Some history on Bluetooth, the true story of Bluetooth. Some information on an end-fed half wave. And this one here is sitting right on the ground and then sloping up into a tree. This is some information on the propagation forecast, and this chart has always been pretty difficult to read, and we did a quick interview with the space weather woman, Tamitha Scove, and she went over this, and she made a really interesting comment on this. So right here it says that the 80 to 40 meter band conditions for day are poor and for night are fair. Like, where is that specifically? Because that would be something very interesting to note. So there's some information on how to decode the propagation forecast information. Quick information on antenna safety, and this looks like it's kind of a halo type antenna for 6 meters. Field day is all about the food. That's absolutely correct. That looks like a beautiful hot dog, chili dog. Antenna masts. What to expect in the rules. A real quick look at grounding to get yourself familiar with it. Grounding is one of those things that hams can argue about for months and never take a breath. So this is a good way to introduce yourself to grounding, but not get too deep. This is how to build an end-fed half wave, and this looks like it is the HF kits, how to build an end-fed half wave, and HF kits makes some fantastic stuff. Making the transformer. 6 tips for enhancing your training during field day. Setting up antenna, proper phonetics, controlling the radio, power options, propagation, headset. Headset's pretty important on field day, otherwise you can't hear anything and you wind up not making any contacts. Quick sidebar on fox hunting. Oh wow, that's neat. So this is a quick tip on how to pull your coax cable through. So they're tying this through the connector, and then you use this connector to attach to the cable, and then you pull the cable through. That's pretty good. A quick way to make a cord look nice and pretty for you. There's always somebody listening, and that is true. Whether there's somebody replying to you or not, there's always somebody listening. Focus on MCOM. This is the July-August edition. Let's see what we got here. Letters to the magazine, Some information on packet radio. Packet radio is something that I want to get into. Packet radio is not FT8 or digital modes, even though when you see something like this you typically think of packet radio, or you typically think of digital modes like an FT8 map or something along those lines. There is a packet radio network near me, and I do have the equipment to do it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so we'll be taking care of that. An interview with a Canadian ham and what they think is a little bit different about up there versus down here. This is some more emergency communications stuff. WinLink, I want to get into WinLink also. I believe I've got everything I need for that except for time. This is a hobby of 1,000 hobbies, and I wish I could do more than just scratch the surface on some of this stuff, just because it's super interesting. Email without the internet is fantastic. Information on proper mic technique. Hold the mic 2 to 4 inches from your face. Don't shout. Push then talk. It's relatively simple stuff, but also keep in mind that this is a needed piece to reach out to a brand new ham audience, because a lot of brand new hams have mic fright because they don't know how to use a mic. So you definitely don't want to have to worry about stuff like that. This is some stuff about terminal node controllers for packet radio. Quick instructions on how to build a 2-meter Yagi. Working an amateur radio event. More hints and hacks. Band plan. Keeping the momentum. So there you go, quick overview, quick look at the last 4 issues of On the Air magazine. Like I said, I really enjoyed this magazine. I think that if you're a newer ham, you will enjoy this magazine also. I've been doing this for a while, and I still find that this is a little more approachable than the QST magazines. A friend of mine will say, hey, I've got like the last 5 years worth of QST magazines saved up. Do you want them? And that's a good way to look at QST magazines. But there's always a different way of doing things. There's always an enjoyable way of doing things, and I actually really enjoy looking at this magazine, and I think that you will too. So take a look at it. You can find this on the ARRL website, and then you can switch your subscription over to it if you are so inclined after taking a look at it, or you can just browse it online every so often. In the meantime, thanks for being awesome.